Hey, welcome to this episode of the Growth and Scaling Sessions. I'm the host, Todd Westra, and we are so excited to have you guys participating today. We've got a special topic that is part of what we call the 4 stages of a growth cycle. When we talk about growth in our company, we focus a lot on a revenue rocket. We have this vision of a revenue rocket being your business because your business is powered by thrust to launch the business into the air, into orbit. And then when you're in orbit, you start performing your business functions, satisfying the needs of your clients, and taking care of the fulfillment of what you've offered to sell them. Now, we got to talk about today, though, the most important part is what gives your company the thrust to get into orbit. It is sales. It is sales, 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 and more sales. And every sale that comes into your business provides thrust for your company to move forward. A lot of people have that thrust come in many different shapes and forms. But most importantly, during our conversations with clients, we talk about sales, marketing, and product development, how they interact, how they communicate with each other, how they coordinate with each other to provide the biggest bang and the most thrust for your company. Today, I've got 2 specialists who are going to talk to us about that coordination between a good marketing campaign, a good sales team, the tools that they use, the tools that you should be using, and the mindset you need to have in order to take a lead from nowhere that knows nothing about your company through a process to where they want to buy and they want to share the good news about what service you're actually fulfilling for them. So today I've got 2 special guests. We are so excited to introduce them. We're going to bring them on one at a time. We're going to start ladies first with Liana Zavo. She is amazing. Liana, tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do?
Hi, thank you so much, Todd, for having me. I am the CEO and founder of Zavo Media PR Group. It is a global PR firm where we serve our clients to become recognized in their industries, so become number one authorities by telling their stories, by creating awareness around their personal brand, and by getting them into the masses, right in front of the public, where their story resonates and how to amplify their voice.
Right? I love it. So you are part of the sales engine. You're part of the revenue engine in terms of getting the marketing, getting the messaging out there. You are a lead feeder. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. All right. Well, that's perfect because you're gonna be able to complement exactly what our next guest is going to talk about. Suresh, give us a little bit of intro into you. What do you do for businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, Todd, I am so grateful to be here with you and Liana. And hey, everyone. So, from my point of view, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Salestable. We are a sales readiness platform for small and medium businesses. And what we have seen in the industry is all the enterprises have what we call as great tools on the sales readiness to really train the salespeople to go there and sell confidently. But then when we really talk about the startups and SMBs, where when we really think about it, US has 70% of SMBs that are employing people. Yet we don't really see a lot of great sales tools that are purpose built for SMBs. And that's exactly what we did with Salestable. We really make sure that the sales reps, sales leaders are actually onboarded, trained efficiently, and then whatever they take in, it sticks with them via our assessments, and finally track activity in a way that we're actually able to go out there and then bring in the right leads and sell
Perfect.
confidently again and again. That's what we do.
Okay, so Suresh and Liana, this is like the ever growing battle in every company is the battle between sales and marketing. I mean, a lot of people lump some of them together. A lot of people think in their head that they're the same thing. Liana, why are they 2 different things? And how are they supposed to work together?
Absolutely. So, yeah, the connotation there can be misrepresented. And so, marketing is the I would say awareness, right? The sales is the process of where you have to engage repeatedly, right? Outreach, make sure that you are always reaching out to clients, engaging and enrolling them. And that in itself, marketing and sales, they do are very work hand in hand, because if you don't have the awareness, then you can't really have sales, right? If you have an amazing awareness, right? If you have the marketing, if you have the PR, then sales will automatically start coming in, because you have that awareness and people start recognizing you. So for my company, sales comes easy because, first of all, word of mouth. It is so crucial when you do something for one person and you have amazing results with them. It just goes on and on, right? Everyone else talks
Right.
about. Another thing is LinkedIn, for example. I have this automated company I work with, where I used to have someone that actually sends messages to 250 people a day, where I hired someone. But now I have this company I work with. They do everything. It's an automated thing where they visit the profiles, they send the messages,
Right.
they upkeep with that. So that in itself, having that awareness with sales comes hand in hand. So it's so important to first have the marketing intact before you have sales. If you don't have the marketing aspect,
Right.
sell.
Now, Liana, and I'm gonna open this up to our audience as well. I would love for anyone in the chat, throw in the chat whether you feel like, okay, it all begins with marketing. We've got Lohan Carrasco who popped up a comment there. It says it all begins with marketing. I agree with you. The marketing is the engine through which we drive the lead into our sales funnel, right? We all know the story of the funnel, right? We dump a bunch of stuff in the top, and then the leads kind of they enter your funnel for something easy, and then we filter them down and down and down until they become that perfect client avatar that we were looking for to begin with. Now, Suresh, you're coming from the sales side of things, and we've seen here somebody already comment about it all begins with marketing. It all begins with some people think it all begins with the sales. What is the true relationship here? Where do you see it from a sales perspective? You're building sales systems and sales software. Where does it all begin for you? And where do you think sales should appropriately be picking up in the journey of a lead?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a long time battle for sure, but I really think of it as a easy way out, Todd, which is basically answering three questions, right? If somebody have to ask, who are you? That
Yeah.
is marketing. If somebody has to ask, what do you do? That is sales. If somebody has to ask, how do you do it? That is product development, right?
I like
So
that.
the reason why I say so is, without really knowing who you are, what you do, all that, it doesn't really matter how great your product is, how many great salespeople that you have, nobody cares at the end of it. And as part of that, that's really where, even for our own customers who are in the startups and the SME segment, we pretty much give them a sense of, guys, it doesn't really matter, even if you don't really have any social media manager, make sure that you are posting valuable content on your social channels. I mean, for some it is LinkedIn, for some it is Twitter, Instagram, based on the business that they are in. But make sure that there is something that your viewers, your customers, your prospects are getting as a continuous basis. And that's really where I would really think of it as a trifecta or a three-legged approach, which is marketing has to communicate right way with sales, and sales has to communicate right way with the marketing and product development, so that it's not really about one or the other. I would actually think of it as everything in tandem.
Right. I agree. Now, one of the things that I notice most frequently when I jump into a business to help with their revenue operations is there is a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion between sales, marketing, and product and how they fit together. And I would add a fourth piece would be the customer success team. I had a guy on my podcast a couple of weeks ago who is a big customer success guy. And he says, look, Todd, When done right, customer success is responsible for more than 40% of the revenue for the company. And I said, what are you talking about? And he explained the argument that maintaining clients and upselling is a big deal. That's what he does. And maintaining the revenue and building upsells is what he looks at as the fourth piece of that trifecta you're talking about. You know, we always talk about sales, marketing, and product, but the customer success kind of jumps in there. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Liana, what do you think about that?
Crucial. Absolutely. I mean, and within my company, and we went global last year. And so, you know, being in so many different countries, that part of actually maintaining relationships and giving them more options to, you know, buy this, buy into that, you have more options. I mean, how otherwise can you scale your company, right? The only way to scale is when you can offer them more because you're interested. It's like, would you like fries with that?
Right.
It's that, you know, do you know how much that would you like fries that made for McDonald's? I mean, I hear that people get fired if they don't say, would you like fries with that? But that's upselling.
Totally.
It's upselling, right?
100%. It's upselling. So where do we make the bridge cross the right way? You know, I've heard both of you talk about the play of a marketing kind of is the awareness. Marketing is what shares what the company does. Sales is what tells you how we're going to help them. You know, I look at it in kind of another complementary way where marketing goes out and says, hey, here's the problem. Here's the problem that we want to help you fix. We have a solution for it. They hand it off to the sales team, and the sales team says, here's how we're going to solve your problem. And they actually go into the nuts and bolts of how they're going to solve it. And then it turns over into that customer success where they are the ones solving the problem, right? It's kind of like nobody's going to listen to you or your brand if they don't know what problem you solve. And what are you guys' thoughts on problem solving versus just general awareness, brand awareness? You guys have any opinions on that?
I can definitely talk about from the startup world, Todd, which is basically to say, especially Liana said perfectly, which is awareness is something. It doesn't really matter how great your product is and whatnot. If people don't know about you, you don't exist. That's really how it is, right? But then, especially when it comes down to the aspect of startups, initially, the founders are coming up with some great idea because they have been in the business before, in the vertical before, or they found some problem they're trying to solve. The initial set of 10, 15, 50 customers is really about problem solving directly for them, along with them, in a way that it is actually becoming much more of a compelling solution for that initial set of customers. Because it doesn't really matter how great these founders think about their problem and solving skills, but at the end of the day, it has to solve a specific problem for the customer,
right,
and take one customer at a time. That's really what I advise that I see from all the customers that we work with. If we are not able to solve one problem that they are going through, then it doesn't really matter how many features do we have, how many products
right.
do we have, how great our sales team that is. And that's really where I feel pretty strongly about really solving one problem at a time for the customers. And that's really when, after that, it's really about really scaling, whether we bring in
Right.
the customer success, for example, at the point of time.
How broad is that problem, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, Liana, I love your story, and you and I shared a great experience last week on our podcast together, talking about the growth of your business. Suresh, it's exciting. Liana has taken her business international. She's now in multiple countries, solving the same problem in all places where she's present. Liana, tell us how that lead funnel goes for you. How do you get somebody, first of all, give us a brief rundown. The problem you solve, who is your client avatar, and what messaging have you been using to pull them into your sales funnel? I'm just curious how you do that for you and your business, let alone how you do it for your clients.
Wow, interesting. Gonna make me give away all my little secrets here.
Hey, you know what? I'm hoping you get some business out of this, Liana. This is it.
Absolutely. So I would say that, my target would be founders, CEOs, anyone that is the face behind the brand and that needs recognition. The problem that I'm solving is they're not recognized for their work. They're
Yeah.
not they're not recognized as being the number one authority in their industry. And so I come in, I say, okay, well, I get you to become number one authority in an industry by telling your stories, by targeting your audience, and I know exactly how to bring that brand recognition and awareness into the press and media. And so the pain point here is, are you recognized? Are people seeing you? Are you being heard? Are you being seen? Because there's so many competitors, right?
Yeah.
And what stand out from your competition? So that's where I come in with my team, and I literally hold your hand. I mean, I know I went global, but the fact that my PR team, right, is we're very boutique, and that we hold your hand, like literally not someone that gets passed along to so many different people just to write your story, right? We make sure that the strategy is there. So
Yeah.
I would say that, the pain point is, are you recognized? Are you being seen and heard? Founders, CEOs, and the lead magnet, right? What people love is to be featured in top tier publication, right?
Yeah.
As I'm a Forbes thought leader, because I'm a Forbes influencer, I know how to get your story into Forbes, and I write for Forbes. I tell them, look, I'm running a Forbes campaign, right? And I would love to see, and I look at their profile. I have to do my, my due diligence of saying if this is a good fit. And then I say, look, we're running a Forbes campaign. Would you like to be, do you think this will be a good fit, right? Is your story a good fit? And then we get on a call. Everybody wants to know if there will be a good fit for a Forbes campaign.
Right.
So
right.
That's how we start the conversation.
And that's awesome. So as you get them into the sales funnel, then are there tools and processes, Suresh, in your opinion, that someone like Liana, like, how many leads fall through the cracks? What are you doing, Suresh, to solve the problem of lead leakage, where leads are coming in, like Liana is talking, and I'm hearing her, and I'm thinking, I'm a founder. I need help being recognized. I need help being publicized. She's going to get all this interest now, people pinging her and reaching out to her on LinkedIn. What does she need to have, Suresh, to be able to facilitate a good follow-up flow for all those leads coming in?
Absolutely. So I just want to take a one step back, right, Todd, on this one. So the one thing that we definitely see, what we call as a lot of it as the founder-led sales, is what many of the startups and SMBs do.
Yeah.
And what we really come in as Salestable is when people are transitioning from that founder-led sales to sales-led sales. And what I mean by that very specifically is, at this point of time, a lot of founders have the value proposition, the market, the ICP that they're looking at, what makes a good lead, what makes a bad lead, and how do we nurture these leads, everything in their mind. That's really what they have, right?
Right.
There is nothing documented, there is nothing written anywhere. And once you bring in a VP of sales or a great salesperson, that is when the rubber meets the road, and then a lot of frustration comes in that for the salesperson, it's like, hey, what do you do exactly? And then the sales leader will be, or the founder would be like, they bring him in couple of, or her in couple of these calls, and they say, oh, you know what, now you go figure out, bring me leads. And we all know, unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. So the one of the aspect that these days we definitely ought to look at is what we call as the sales readiness platforms. And which is really to say, how do you onboard these salespeople? How do you train salespeople in a way that they're actually going out there knowing, how do I find a good lead? How do I research for a good lead? What does it really mean for me to have a email campaign or LinkedIn campaign? What are the tools should I be using? And then really take assessments, because at the end of it, what we have seen is there are a lot of these learning management systems that are out there.
Right.
But then it just doesn't really make sense without actually taking the assessments and taking all that knowledge in. um, that's really when, let's say, we make with Salestable, we actually bring the sales leaders and salespeople to go out there, sell confidently. And now when we get these leads, that is when a good CRM has to be out there.
Yeah.
And especially, of course, from the startups and the SMBs point of view, we definitely recommend the HubSpot. That is something that where you get on free out there, you
Sure.
start, you see, get your hands dirty, and then see how it comes out there. But even with HubSpot, the one thing that we have definitely seen is do make sure that we utilize the sequences, the email sequences feature that HubSpot has, which is
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. And the last thing is make sure you define the sales process in a way. Once we bring in the lead, make sure you create a contact within HubSpot. You create a deal within whatever CRM that you are using, so that at the end of it, of 1, 2, 3 months, there are so many leads, so many emails, so many LinkedIn messages. I'm sure it is humanly impossible for us to keep track of it. And that's really where definitely a CRM would be of a great companion for you, in addition to
100%.
something like Salestable.
100%. So Liana, tell me, like, you don't grow and scale all the way to where you are with founder-led sales. How did you make the transition from being a founder-led sales team to a team of people that are actually producing for you?
That's a great question, by the way, Todd. Thanks for asking that.
I think it's simple. I would say just hire people that are smarter than you, right? Hire people that have been doing this for a while. I mean, the thing is that if you're going to be saving on those qualifications and say, I can hire someone and pay less, you're actually going to be spending much more. So I made sure to hire people that are really well seasoned in that, and that they will teach me, if anything. And I have nothing to do with it, actually. When I hire my team, they do it all for me. So I might spend the extra because I know I'm in good hands. So I would say, when you're delegating, make sure you delegate not to somebody who's a rookie, right? Even though it's good to have an intern, which a lot of them have started as interns, but
Right.
I would say that if you want to have a senior level and go global and reach that level, you should definitely get someone seasoned on the team.
I love that. I love that. And Suresh, I'm sure you would agree. Anytime you grow and scale a business, it is so important that you hire people who are specialists. Liana, you and I had a good conversation offline even the other day talking about this, but in growth and scaling, we have a tendency as a founder to want to control everything that we can. And I love how Liana just mentioned it's easy. Hire people smarter than you. That's something that we have a hard time as a founder thinking is possible. Like, why would somebody want to come work with me if I can't tell them what to do? And I think that that's a real common problem. And in building a sales team, yeah, founders can be good salespeople, but I've also worked with a lot of founders who do more harm than good. They're horrible at messaging. They make their product sound like it's not solid and stable because they think, yeah, maybe I could try change the product to fit what you need exactly. That's not what people want to hear. They want to hear, what does your product do to help me? And why is it going to help me? And just show me where to sign up. Don't tell me that you're going to change the whole product for me, because I don't think people really want that. And Suresh, you're developing a product for people to help with their sales teams. I love that you did not say your product does everything. You said your product is a great complement to tools like HubSpot or Go High Level or things like that. Like, that is a great founder-led statement, to be honest, in my opinion, because you're not trying to be everything to everybody. You're just trying to say, look, here's my lane. Here's what I do really well. Liana does this really, really well. She's really good at building personal brand, building personal awareness for leaders of organizations. It's awesome to be specialized. What are your thoughts on that? Either of you?
Yeah, I mean, especially from the startups point of view, Todd, I can say this for sure, right? At the end of it, if a startup founder or a startup says we are here for doing 10 different things, then you always have to kind of seriously double consider if you need to even talk to that startup, because at the end of it, we can only do one thing great at a time. Because again, even with the biggest of the technology or any other companies that we see, they all do one or two things really, really well, and the rest of the things are really complementary. And then that is why, especially in the technology world, we have different integrations and whatnot. For example, when we are going to this restream this morning, I integrated with LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Why is that? Just because, that's how it is, right? Restream does one thing really well, and then we want to be able to kind of amplify that via integration. That's exactly where I would say it's really about, if we are not able to say the reason why elevator pitches are so helpful is, if we can't say what we do really well in 1 minute, then we failed in something.
I agree.
Right?
You think of yourself being too broad of a brushstroke, and if you think you solve all problems as a founder, you're not solving anyone's problems.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I love the lane that all three of us have fallen into. Liana is a great marketer. She's great at building those personal brands and getting them aware, out there on social media. Suresh has a great sales enhancement tool that he uses to build people's sales processes and workflows. I work on RevOps for companies that struggle to get these three teams aligned, or four, depending on who you talk to: sales, marketing, product, and customer success. Those are the people that I work with. I help align them in their teams. I don't do marketing anymore. I don't do sales for them. I don't do product dev for them, but we do provide alignment for those teams because people struggle to keep them aligned. So
Todd,
yeah.
Correct you. I'm sorry. I'm not a marketer. I am a publicist and a strategist. I am a PR strategist and a publicist.
Even better.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with marketing. And when they say to me, like, what can you give me an ROI on PR? I'm like, unfortunately, the only ROI I can give on PR is the impressions. For example, how many people will read your article, or how many that picked up. But marketing is more tangible, right? PR is not as tangible. Yeah, I have stories about you, and I'll get you at top of Google with all these stories because you will be ranked high in the SEO. I'll get your Wikipedia page. You'll have a Google Knowledge panel. I'll get you into Forbes. But I can't do the marketing for you, right? So
I love it.
Strategy is totally different than marketing strategy.
I love it. And that right there, you guys, this way, that right there is a sign of a founder who's very clear of exactly the problems that they solve. I love that you broke it down, because a lot of people make the mistake of lump summing a PR firm into a marketing engine. You're just a piece of the marketing. You're not the marketing strategy team, right? And I love that you did that for us. That was like a perfect way to close that little segment. In closing, we got a comment down below from I think it's Johan. How has LinkedIn helped each of your respective businesses? I would love to close off with this, and I'm going to turn the time over to both of you. We'll start with Suresh. Suresh, how has LinkedIn helped your respective business generate leads and build awareness of your product? I think it's a great question.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I'll say it's a two-pronged approach, at least for me. Number one is really about making myself helpful for the people who are there on LinkedIn, who is following me, and then providing the value every single day. That's going to be super helpful for me, because one, it's not only talking about what I am good at, what I can provide for other people, but it also gives me, in terms of comments, in terms of debates and discussions that we go on, different perspectives that we see from the leadership teams that are out there on LinkedIn. That's really helped me a lot to not only provide what I'm doing, but also take in the feedback from the people that are out there. The second aspect of it is, especially from the LinkedIn outreaches, is what I would say. Once you know who is your ICP, who are the titles, what is the
Right.
geography, what your kind of messaging look like, I think LinkedIn has actually great tools for you to be able to reach out to people. And then I would say 99% of the reach outs that I do, people are very helpful. They come back with questions, comments, and if they're able to help me right away, they'll say, I can help you. If not, they'll say, not right now. But I think there is that mutual respect that is there on LinkedIn that I just completely love, and I'm really
Yeah.
grateful for.
I love it. That's a great response. I think it is a great platform. It's amazing. Liana, tell us how LinkedIn has helped you in growth of your business.
LinkedIn is king, you guys. If you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing out. LinkedIn is just an underdog right now, but like it is the king, right, in so many respects. But right now, people don't take it seriously. When I ask a lot of my clients, are you on LinkedIn? Oh, no, we have no time for that. I'm like, before you do anything, before you even start working with me, you have to have a LinkedIn profile because people need to trust you. And what LinkedIn does for you is builds that trust, right?
Yeah.
And the trust factor
Yep.
is so important when they start facilitating business with you, because they go and look you up, like, are you credible? And so credibility is so important, and that's what LinkedIn provides for me, and that's how I can generate so much business, because there's a features section on LinkedIn, and the features section is the number one thing that pops into a person's face when they look through your profile, and that's where all your articles have to go, and that's your authority feature, right? Where have you been talked about? Who has been talking about you? Where are your stories being featured? So make sure that is filled up every day. You have that top feature section. So that generates a lot of business for me because it's interesting. It's an icebreaker, right? I bring value to people with my stories of my insights. In, for example, the last article of my insights was yesterday on Forbes, where I talked about why are people so lucky? Like, what makes people so lucky in their business, right? And so I break it down. That's an amazing icebreaker. And so no other platform does this, right?
No.
Right? No other platform can do that, the communication to break the ice and be like, hey, by the way, this is my article, and kind of send that over. So yeah, I would say that I am number one authority in what I do. I position myself as the recognized expert. And so when you do that, other people want to talk to you. You're part of so many different communities, right?
Yeah.
So find groups that are relatable to me, right? So if I want to serve realtors, or like the face behind, like, for example, whatever group I want to join, I want to join that group, right? So women, for example, I'm doing a whole women's campaign for Women International Day. So I make sure all the women's campaign groups, right? So that I can target them. So targeting your clients on LinkedIn is easy because there's so many groups. You type it in, and you just become part of them, and you just start posting. So I would say be of value and attract the same, I guess your tribe, your avatar.
I love it. It's 100% accurate. Both of you guys are completely correct. And by the way, I met both these people on LinkedIn. And so, LinkedIn is a great place to connect with people. I use LinkedIn every single day. I use tools, and I use myself as a human to interact with people on LinkedIn. It is a fantastic place for growing a business, especially B2B. But I also have seen people be very successful on B2C campaigns. There are direct to consumer campaigns that you can run on LinkedIn. There are obviously very, very in-depth tools to targeting. If you know who your perfect clients are, you can target like crazy on here. And again, that's how I met these two people. They were in a very targeted list that I had produced with only 1,500 people in that targeted list. Both these people popped up, and we connected, and we had a conversation. And now we're doing podcast interviews and LinkedIn Lives. Like, it is a fantastic place to network. Both of these people on this call with me are not necessarily my client avatar exactly, but I know people that they need to communicate with. They know people that I need to communicate with for my business. And it becomes an amazing network. We build network, we build relationships, and then we build our business. And that's what I love about LinkedIn. So for those that are watching, for those that are the topic today was sales systems. I highly recommend you make LinkedIn a part of your marketing to drive leads into your sales system. You've got to have a sales system. You've got to have a CRM. I popped up there earlier a little ticker for HubSpot or Go High Level. I absolutely, I've helped literally hundreds of small businesses with Go High Level. I know a lot of people are huge HubSpot fans, but check it out. If you don't have a CRM, a way to manage and communicate with your leads, you're going to lose half of them or more than half of them. You're going to lose track of who you've been talking to. And so sales systems are so critical. Both Liana and Suresh are experts in what they do. I highly recommend you go connect and follow them on their profiles, learn about what they're saying. They're both very active on LinkedIn. Follow what they're doing, get networked with them. If they have a play for you, play with them. If they don't, see if they know somebody that does fit your profile. And I promise you, LinkedIn is the place. This is a great lead gen, and it's a great way to get to know people. Any closing thoughts you guys want to add to that?
The only one thing I'd say, Todd, is LinkedIn. I always say network is net worth for all of us.
It is
And
work.
for the people who wants to go out there, meet, don't really confine yourself with just your first level connections, but I always think about network of networks and reach out to people with very outcome oriented message and tell them, it is perfectly okay if you need a help, just tell them that you need help, right? And people are really willing to come out there and help you in whatever they can. And that's really where, Todd, I think to your point, and Liana, for your point as well, it's really about making sure that tell your story in the greatest way possible.
Yeah.
Know
how to tell your story, right, Suresh? Liana helps people do that. Go ahead, Liana.
You got to own your narrative. Don't let the media own you. You got to own your narrative. And what I would say is you need to be consistent, and it's hard to start on LinkedIn, right? I can say for myself, years ago, it was a drag for me. But guess what? It is the biggest and the best decision I've ever made. And it's like the revenue, because I'm so successful, is because of LinkedIn. I connect with so many people all over the world. It's because click of a button, it can collect people from all over the world, and I can send them a message.
Boom. LinkedIn should be paying us for this sales pitch here at the end. But honestly, it's a great way for us to all grow and build our businesses. Thank you all for being here. I highly encourage all of you to follow Suresh and Liana and myself and follow us. We are active. We are teaching people how our craft works. We're teaching people how we help people. And when you are looking to Liana's point, to validate someone's actual experience, this is where you do it. This is where you find the people who are good at the skills you need to have. I've never hired anybody without checking their LinkedIn profile. In 15 years, I've never hired anyone without looking at their LinkedIn. And this is the place to establish your credibility, establish your network, and start networking yourself like crazy till you get that dream position, that dream role, that dream business you've been trying to build. You can do it all here. Thanks for being part of the show, you guys. The growth and scaling sessions happen every Wednesday, and we touch upon different aspects of your revenue engines. So let's talk about it and see you next week.
Thank you, Todd. Take care.